Hey everyone, welcome back to Play the Game HQ. I'm Alison, this is Daniel, and we are going to take a look at Tend. It's a new game coming from Ivy Studios on Kickstarter now. We'll leave a link below where you can check it out. This game, it's a flip and write because there are cards.
It's a do stuff and write.
There are dice. There is rolling.
Those are plants and animals.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Those are plants and animals. Those are dice. They look like dice. We're going to call it a whatever and write. So whatever you're going to do before you write is what it is. So, but I think technically it is a flip and write because the actions are cards.
Yes.
So I guess we'll call it a flip and write.
It's a flip and write, and then you do some other stuff and you write about it.
Okay, I'm going to make a bold statement.
Be bold, baby.
This game, I know it doesn't technically come out till next year, 2025. It's already my top game for next year. It's definitely my top flip and write, roll and write, whatever and write in the genre, period. I have enjoyed playing this game so much. Our first play, I didn't do very well because I was still understanding the concepts, but it was over and I was like, can we please play just a few more rounds? They don't have to count.
And it's not a short game.
No.
Like, you were ready to play again.
I was let's go. Let's do it.
It's a solid hour and a half game. Like, if you're really trying, I think we have... First game took about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Lots of rule checking. Again, this is a prototype.
Well, we also have kids, so we need
to say that. We always forget that. But this is a prototype. Some of the iconography has already changed. There are going to be updates, but it is a prototype. First game with rules checks and things like that. Again, digital rule book, not having a physical rule book in front of us, so having to go to the iPad or the phone. Took about 2 hours. We have played a game in an hour when we were really like, let's get another game in really quick. It can be played in an hour. Casually, you're looking at a 90-minute game.
Right, you are. And I played it solo, and it took me longer because I was at home and I had Emma. So between naps and stuff and picking up kids from school, I was able to get it in, and it was fine. Just split it up with seasons. So I was done with the season. I hit pause and then just kept going. Yeah. And I also played it with the app yesterday instead of scratch off. How cool is that? Like lottery tickets is something that you and I like to do once a year on our anniversary. So it had that like nostalgic feel, but it can get a little messy. So we'll go into like our thoughts of those type of things. I will say the reason why this game speaks to me so much is it is like a roll and write version, a flip and write version of a Sandbox game, to where it reminded me of, I grew up playing Harvest Moon. A lot of people relate to like Stardew Valley or Animal Crossing that has that type of feel where it's like, I'm going to go and work on my garden right now. Ooh, let's go fishing. Or I'm going to go in the woods and see what I can find. Or even go into the mines and see what I can find. And it depends on the actions that are available up here that everyone is choosing from. But that's what you're doing. You're choosing where you want to go, how you want to spend your day. I love that.
But
what?
Don't let that deceive you into thinking that this is a nice, relaxing, just kind of phone it in, play your way through, and you're going to do great.
Oh, it's relaxing. 100% relaxing.
It is relaxing and incredibly strategic. And I would go to say something that I like about what they built into this game, even though I'm not nearly as good at it as her, it is a game that you cannot phone it in. It's not a game that you're probably going to do great your first couple of plays. You need to develop a strategy, and if you do not play this game with an intentional strategy, I dare say you cannot do well in this game. Like you have to play strategically. I do. You have to play strategically, and you have to pick a direction and go with it and really play a strategy, or you will not do well that game. There are roll and write games. There are games that through the progression of the game, you're naturally going to upgrade abilities, gain new things that you can do, just by you have to do certain things that are going to unlock abilities, and you're going to get new abilities. This game, if you are not intentional about unlocking abilities and upgrading your abilities, you will not upgrade them. They are not single action upgrades. They take multiple turns, multiple things to upgrade. So if you are not being strategic about the way that you're playing, you're gonna do poorly.
There's a lot of goal. Now this is a goal-focused game. A lot of games are and have that engine builder type of feel. And like say Wingspan, that goal-focused game, the goal-directed game, will change throughout the game for me. It's like, depends on the cards that I get, the birds that I get. It'll be like, okay, well, then I'm going to focus on this. Oh, I didn't get that, though. So, okay, let's focus on this. And I kind of weave through how I'm going to focus throughout the game. With Tend, you pretty much, you get your manifest, you see what's in front of you, you see the goals, and you're like, okay, I know where I'm going. Yes. I've got to focus. And it does not change throughout the game where my focus is. It is pretty straight and narrow what I'm going to focus on throughout the entire game.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to give a quick little overview of how to play so that you can kind of follow along with what we're doing. Not going to give a full in-depth how to play. Ivy Studios has multiple resources out. They have playthroughs. They have their how to play that's going to do a much better job than me. But just want to give you a basic overview to see if it kind of whets your appetite for it. And then you can go watch that stuff if you want to. One thing to point out, it is a little bit of a table hog. This is shared. Excuse me.
Hi, straight.
This is shared. These are shared. This can technically be shared, but there is one for every player. But otherwise, this whole rectangle here is one player's stuff.
Yeah.
So 5 players is going to be this times 5. The pins could technically be shared, but that'd be cumbersome. And the dice, but the cards, all of that is everyone has to have all of this stuff in their setup area. So it is a table hog.
Yeah, just you don't want to. Some people, like when we played the other night, they were like, we'll just like do this. You really need to be able to see everything. Out. Yeah.
Yes. So Tend, and my biggest beef with this game, the one thing I cannot, it should be called Landrakers. Missed opportunity. Call it Landrakers. You have Moonrakers. You call it Landrakers.
Have you told Austin?
No.
Oh.
But that is my beef with the game, is it should be called Landrakers. But in Tend, you're playing over 12 rounds, over 3 seasons. It is kind of a community deck builder kind of game in that you are going to be improving the action deck for everybody as you play the game. So you start out with starting cards. Each of those 12 rounds, you're going to lay out a set of 5 cards, and everyone independently is going to choose 2 actions to do. You can do the same actions. It's not if I take mining, Alison can't take it. Everyone can do the same thing, and that is pretty silent action. Like, you're going to be doing that independently of each other. There's really only one place that there's player interaction, and that is in the neighbor cards. What would you like to say?
Well, you were saying it's a community builder. It really isn't. The game is the deck builder because we don't make the choices as far as what goes into the deck. No. The game chooses. True. So if the choices we made decided what goes into that deck, that would be a community builder. The game is building the deck.
But the community deck, it's 5 cards. You use what you can. You discard those 5 cards, you add to it, and it gets stronger, and you cycle through those cards. My point stands. It is a community deck builder in which the community is not in charge of the decisions to build the deck. This deck right here is set up. You have 5 Season 1 cards, 4 Season 2 cards, 3 Season 3 cards. The upcoming season is face up, the upcoming round is face up, so you can see what you're going to do. So you have these actions. At the end of the round, you're going to discard those, bring these 2 down, and then lay out more cards from the deck to fill in those 3 spaces. When the draw pile is empty, you're going to shuffle those and then just continue building it. But all of these cards will be shuffled in and added to throughout the game. And obviously, the further into the game you get, the more complex your actions are going to be. But there are there's 4 base actions in the game. You have chopping, tending, mining, and fishing. Chopping, you're going to be scratching your way through the woods here. Mining, you're going to be scratching your way through the mines. Tending, you're going to be doing your planting and your tilling up ground and building fences and things over here. And then fishing, you're going to be fishing initially in the pond, but based on other things you unlock throughout the game, you may be able to fish in the river, the grotto, or the lake. Now, something really cool that they're doing with this game in order to make it playable, because roll and rights, flip and rights, all of those are notoriously difficult to play community or to play remotely, even though they're great games and technically you just need your own sheets. They're hard to play like over online because you have to have a camera at the table, all of that. They have developed an online app or a web app for this whole card system. You log in, you give everyone a code, and it progresses through the exact same set of cards. So you can get on your computer and you can have you're all looking at the same cards. You can work through it the same way. Also, if you don't want to make a mess, they have a free app or a free web app for the scratch off cards that you just tap and it unlocks the it reveals
where
the
you
squares.
explore.
Yes, where you explore. So there are there's 3 objectives for the 3 seasons. You're going to score each season at the end of the season. So at the end of round 5, you'll score season 1. End of round 9, you'll score season 2. And at the end of the game, you'll score season 3. And then at the end of the game, you're going to score your cargo manifest, which honestly is where the bulk of your points are going to come from. Yes, you do have your round score, your seasonal scoring, but the bulk of your points is going to come from your cargo manifest. So throughout the game, you're going to be executing these actions. I forgot fishing. I'll go back to fishing in just a minute. So throughout the game, you're going to be executing these actions and ideally collecting things. You're going to be farming and growing things. You're going to be collecting things that you will then use to either sell or build towards another objective or store in your cargo manifest, which is going to give you points at the end of the game.
Or share with your neighbor if you have those cards.
Or share with your neighbor, yes. If you do get something that matches one of your neighbor bonus cards, which are going to be cycled each round, you're going to have a new neighbor bonus card. They are side specific, so if we were playing, if this was mine, this goes to the player over there, this goes to the player over there, and everyone has 2 neighbor cards. If you are able to get one of these resources, you can give this card to your neighbor, you scratch off and earn a bonus down here, and then they can use that at the beginning of the next round. But really, it's a game of gain resources, find those resources on your sheet, find something that matches that icon, and utilize it to upgrade other things, to unlock things. It's one of those, if you're playing well, you'll get lots of cascading, rippling effects from gaining resources and things. The mining and the chopping and the mining is very straightforward. If you use that action, you're going to scratch that off. You're going to take the bonus shown. Once you get below this line right here, you have to have 2 mining actions or have upgraded your pickaxe or your axe in order to go below that line. Tending is the most complex. I'll go to that in just a second. Fishing, you're going to roll these dice when you choose to fish. Again, at the beginning, you can fish on the pond, and as you unlock these in different places, you can fish in those. And fishing and unlocking or exploring a geode work the same way. You have these 2 dice, you roll them,
2 and 2.
and you have your white numbers on the top, your black numbers down the side, and you just check out the grid. They do have a wild. So if I rolled this, I could do the number 2 column and then any of the rows. So that's fishing,
but
and also using the geode.
Now, just having your regular fishing rod, you get exactly that point. If I upgraded it here, I'd be able to do this 2 up, 2 down kind of X. I can choose which fish, only 1 fish. And then if I do it here, I can do all within the 6 row box. But if I get a lure, you're able to catch an additional fish within those perimeters as well, which is really cool.
Yep.
I've not done that yet.
And then tending, you are going to be choosing, when you choose to take a tend action, you can till the ground, which is that little mark. You can build fences, you can plant crops, or you can you can...
You purchase your animals.
You can purchase it. That's the word I was looking for.
You're going to the auction house to buy an animal, and that's what the animals you go. Yeah,
you can get animals, and they have to be inside of a fence.
This is a very fat cow right here that takes up way too much space.
Yep. And at the beginning of every round, you're going to tick these things up, and they are eventually, when they get to a white icon, are going to produce a resource. And again, just like everything else, when you get a resource, you can choose based on this chart to use it for money or to put it in your manifest in this shape right here. This is your manifest. Now these markers, and these are with the deluxe version of the game. The base version of the game comes with colored pencils, but the markers have a writing side on one side and a stamp on the back side that makes the nice little icons there.
I love it so much.
Yes. It is wonderful. It is overproduction to the max, but it's beautiful and it's wonderful and it's so satisfying to just... And you have a nice uniform cargo manifest.
I loved it.
Now, each player is going to have a sheet that has, ideally, and I can't remember how many different versions of the sheet there are, but ideally, everyone is playing with a different set of rules right here. You have 3 columns. Yeah, I can see that. You have 3 columns on your cargo manifest, and each column is going to have different scoring criteria, yes. So this column is going to score 0 points for any leaves. This column is going to score 2 points for leaves, and this is going to score 0 points for any axe icons. Otherwise, every icon is 1 point at the end of the game. So at the end of each season, you're going to score those points, and at the end of the game, you're going to score for your cargo manifest, and then you're going to score your neighbor bonuses. You're going to score each side 3 points for each bonus more than the player next to you that you have. So if I marked off 5 and this neighbor over here marked off 4, I would get 3 points for that. And then you're also throughout the game going to be working these projects. You're going to be unlocking badges. You can get these medals that you can, again, store in your cargo manifest or cash in for money. And the money you have to spend immediately. There's nowhere to store money.
Yes.
Everything you get, every resource you get in the game, you have to spend immediately. And that's how the game plays. There are a lot of different ways to get there's not a lot of different ways to get the points. There's a lot of different places to spend resources.
Yeah, utilizing a resource.
That will strategically get you points. Where I was going from with the having to be strategic, like upgrading your tend action, at the base game, you have 24 actions. If you upgrade your different actions, your tend action, your chop action, your mine action, you get an additional action for each one that you get. So instead of being able to mine once with this, if I had upgraded my pickaxe, I'd be able to mine twice, either doing 1 square below there or scratching off 2 different squares. It is critical, I believe. I've not done well at it, so I can't talk to how critical it is, but I think it's pretty important that you upgrade actions as you play. And that is something that I have struggled to do, is to be intentional about upgrading actions. But it's one of those, again, that's the core of what I really like about this game, is I've played roll and rights, I've played flip and rights, where it's kind of, as long as you do something with what you get, you're going to progress through the game okay. And this one forces you to play strategically. Otherwise, it's just going to be marking stuff off.
Okay, you can make a oh crap, I forgot I was going for that in the backup. It's if you make a one-run move, it's not gonna
you don't have to maximize every. I'm not talking about like you have to maximize every single turn, but you have to play with a broad strategy versus just, what do I want to do on round 5?
The age is 14 up, and I really think that that's about right where you're going to be. We have an 11-year-old who would like to play the game. He would struggle. And it would feel really just unbalanced playing with him, because my score would really be higher because of how I'm able to strategize. Our 15-year-old would probably be great at this.
I've struggled with how to strategize in this game. It is.
So I think that age is pretty spot on. When it comes to being able to take an action and then have it just roll and domino, a lot of that is going to be with these seasoned cards here. Like this one, I can either tend or fish. If I've built a trellis, which is right here, you pay 2 logs and a zenith's coin in order to build that. If I built that, then I also get this fish. I can utilize that however I want. If I have a card that allows me to share it with my neighbor, if I want to put it in my manifest, or if I want to sell it and have coins, that you can do that however you want. So that those allow you to do for things. So say I was able to then get 2 coins, I sold that, then I was able to purchase something else. I could upgrade my hatchet at the same time. Like, allowing your strategy to go that way. Another really good thing you didn't talk about is energy bars. Those allow you to then have another action, repeat that action that you did before.
I mean, we could talk for an hour about the game.
I enjoy it so much.
It's great, and there's so many different little areas of depth with it.
I've played it now 2 players, 3 players, and solo. I have yet to find a place where it's like, okay, I've done everything I can with this game. I really want to. I've not utilized the badges. I want to focus on that. I before have not utilized the tend actions and completely just ignored it. I think I built 1 trellis 2 times ago that we played, and that's all I did. And I stuck some berries on there every once in a while, and I still ran away with the points. So you don't have to tend to win the game, but you can also focus on tending and get a fairly good sizable amount of points.
And even these extra actions, like because these cards go into the discard and get recycled in, there's a good chance your first time these come around, especially the early season 1 cards, that you're not going to be able to do them, but you can at least plan for them. Like they come back around and get planning.
Do not think that because you aren't able to do those or you haven't done those yet that you're behind in the game. Because those are like, if you happen to have done this.
There's a chance that you're behind in the game, though.
I don't think so. I think you're able to utilize that, especially seeing what's coming ahead.
Speaking from someone who has been behind in the game, there's a chance that you're behind in the game.
There's so many little things about this game that we haven't touched on. Even like in your manifest, if I'm able to fill up this row, I can take another action here. I didn't do that here because of this goal here. With any open space the size of 3, I get 4 extra points. So you can see here I was very careful about leaving those empty spaces and not worrying about those extra actions. But that's another way to get extra actions and really build on the actions that you can. You only have, what you said, 24
actions,
24
plus any rippling
here.
Effects.
Another thing, do make sure that if you're planning on tending next time, that there is a tend action available. Because there's been times I'm like, I'm going to go fishing, and there's no fishing actions, and so I have to choose to do something else.
Yeah. It is absolutely a joy to play. It is a game that, again, you really need to play a few times to really get the strategy for it. But even those early games, as you're learning, are just fun, and there's satisfaction in checking things off and rippling. It is aesthetically gorgeous, fun to play, enjoyable. There is a lot going on, but once you understand the basic concepts, it plays very simply. You check something off, you gain a resource, you go find that resource somewhere else that you want to use it, and you spend it by crossing it off. If that gives you another resource, you go find that thing and you cross that off, and hopefully you can cross some stuff off and keep crossing some stuff off.
Yeah.
It is not everything that you need, all the information that you need is in front of you once you understand those core concepts. It is very well designed. I think it is a beautiful game. It is a lot of fun, and it truly is one of the best games in this genre that I've played.
I think so. And I think because I had a couple of people ask me which player count I prefer to play on, because I am so focused on the goals. I want to know, I know what I'm going to do next, so I want to be able to do that. Waiting on other people to play can feel like you're twiddling your thumbs a little bit if you already know what you're going to do. And so I would prefer actually playing solo, because of that, unless I'm playing with someone who's kind of in that same mindset of let's do this thing. Just because it is so like, okay, I know what I'm going to do next. I need to be able to do that. Okay, come on, guys, let's do this thing. I really enjoyed it solo. It was so relaxing, and the app was great utilizing that. I like the scratch off because that's just what's the word, tactilely fun. But as far as mess goes and making sure I'm staying in those squares, gets a little tedious. So I do prefer the app. I love this game. I want to play it again tonight. I could play this every day. I wish it was just, I like it being physically on the table, but if it was just an app, I would play the app constantly.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yep. So I agree. It's awesome. It's such a well done game, and it's different than anything that Ivy Studios has put out before, but it still lives up to the production quality and the design quality. It is a really well done game.
It is.
I'm excited to see it get out in the world, see more people play it. If you have any questions about this game, be sure to leave us a comment below, and we'll answer as quick as we can. If we can't answer it, we'll send it along to the designers and have them come and answer it for you. We'll leave a link to the Kickstarter so you can go check it out. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.